This is the best way to document your outdoor adventures. The Insta360 X3 has been a game changer for me, and today I want to share with you my favorite things about this camera, as well as some tips and tricks in order to get shots like this, and this. Insta360 did sponsor this video, but they didn't have any say in the content, and I stand behind everything that I say, and I even talk about some things that I don't necessarily like about the X3. Let's start by talking about some of the things that I like about the device. First of all, it has a big screen on the front now. I used the Insta360 X2 before the X3 and it had this little tiny circle screen that I didn't like very much. It's a lot easier to see what you're shooting as well as navigate the menus with the new big screen. It's waterproof to 33 feet, so if you're going snorkeling or underwater, then it's going to be able to capture those shots without a case. If you are going diving or deeper than 33 feet, then Insta360 does sell a case that you can put around in order to get to those deeper depths, and I'll have links to that as well as all the things that I'm talking about in this video at links in the video description. It uses USB-C to charge. You just open up this little flap here and you can charge it up. You don't have to take the battery out like you did with the X2 in order to charge the device, which is a really nice feature. And all my devices now use USB-C, so I'm not having to use dongles or extra cords. You can do 8K 360 time lapses with the X3, which is really cool. You can get some awesome shots, especially if you're doing things like sunsets or just generally follow the clouds. We don't have a lot of clouds right now, but that's something that you can really use that time lapse feature for. It also has amazing stabilization. I've taken this on trail runs where I'm running downhill on some rocky, uneven trails, and it just stabilized that footage really well. Something that I was really surprised about the X3 was the audio. I've recorded straight into the audio on the microphones on the device, and the audio sounds really good. Here's some examples of the audio straight from the device. So this is the audio coming straight from the device, which is pretty good, and there's no wind muffs or anything on it. There's a little bit of a breeze and it's probably not picking it up too bad. And because it's a 360 camera, I can just walk around to the other side. I can do an entire loop of the camera and it's going to be able to pick me up the entire time. So this is kind of cool too. If you have an interview that you're doing, you can have one person on one side of the camera, another person on the other side, and it's going to capture both of them. The most important thing about a camera system is the quality of the video. And with the Insta360 X3, I think that it has some room for improvement, but it's very good for what it is. For such a compact device, it takes really good footage out in sunny conditions like this. You can get 4K footage at 50 frames per second, or you can get 5.7K footage at 30 frames per second. It allows you to film in HDR, which is usually what I film in. I just find that the quality is a little bit better when you are dealing with some shadows and then sunny areas. It just kind of levels everything out a little bit better. I'll talk about one of the bad things now. I'm going to get into those a little bit later in the video, but it's low light performance. The sensors on the Insta360 are not gigantic, so you're not going to be getting great low light performance. So when it is kind of getting close to nighttime, or if I'm in a lot of tree cover, then the quality decreases and I'm starting to get a lot of noise and quality degradation. But before we really get into some of my other gripes with the X3, let's go over some tips and tricks for how to get the best footage with this device. Like I said, I usually film 5.7K, 30 frames per second in HDR. Those are the best settings that I find. And then in order to get footage, I usually use this trekking pole that has from Compradel. It's a Compradel camera staff that has an 1/8" screw on the top. And then I add these Ulanzi camera mounts on the top and then on the bottom of the Insta360. So I can just slide the Insta360 X3 onto the device and basically get a pole that I can use for recording with, or I can shove this in the ground and then do walk-by shots or just general 360 shots without having to put it on a tripod. 90% of the time, I'm walking down the trail with the X3 just on the trekking pole, and then I have this little cap that covers the lenses in order to protect them from sticks and drops and things like that. You can tell that I've dropped the device on the ground, it's hit some rocks, and I have a screen cover on here in order to protect the screen. It's taken some dings. But the screen protector works very well. I've gone through 2 of them so far, and I haven't had any damage to the screen underneath the screen protectors yet. If you're not someone who uses trekking poles, then another option is that Insta360 sells a 2-meter long pole. I again attach the Ulanzi camera mounts on top there. I think it's actually 1.5 meters, and you can just attach like that, run around and get some good shots that way. I know Jeff Pelletier, who's a trail runner, this is the system that he uses in order to get all of his shots when he's out on trail runs. But if you want to get those drone-like shots, and that's where I think the Insta360 really shines, because it has that feature where, because it has 2 lenses on it, it can make the selfie stick or the trekking pole or whatever you have it mounted on disappear. So it looks like it's just floating in the sky, and you don't have a pole in the shot like you do with something like a GoPro. In order to get those drone-like shots, you need to get the camera a lot further away from you. In order to do that, I use a 3-meter carbon fiber pole that Insta360 sells. Like I said, I'll have links in the video description. I again have that mount on top. I just slide the camera onto here, and then I can extend this up to 3 meters in length and then hold it out. It's an awesome feature that allows you to get drone-like shots. And if you're in places like national parks or places that don't allow drones, then this is the best way to get those really contextual shots that take in a lot of the landscape. I usually have the device set to quick start mode, so I just press this circle button and then it turns the device on and then starts recording instantaneously. So that means that I can just press that button, extend the pole out, and then by the time I have it fully extended, it's recording. And then when I retract it back in, I just press that button again, it stops recording and then turns the device off. It's just a really quick way to get quick shots while you're out on your trips. I get accused of using a drone all the time when I'm using the Insta360 with this selfie stick. I've had it out in national parks and had people threaten to report me because you're not allowed to use drones in the national parks in Canada. I've also taken the selfie stick, shoved it down the side of my backpack, and then had it kind of above me like a follow cam a little bit. And that's been really cool when I'm in sketchy areas where I still want to get the footage, but I want to have both my hands free. The Insta360 makes it so I don't have to frame a shot or worry that I'm not going to get the footage that I want because it captures everything around it. So it makes it a lot easier to just set it and forget it and not have to worry that you're going to miss that really important shot. That takes us to some of the things that I don't really like with the X3 or are areas where I think Insta360 could improve a little bit. First of all, the voice control. It's advertised as having voice activation, so you can just say start recording video and then it'll start recording, and then stop recording video and then it'll stop recording, but I haven't been able to get that to work. Stop recording video. Especially when it's out on the end of a selfie stick or that 3-meter pole, the voice commands just don't work at all, which is too bad because I think it'd be an awesome feature in order to be able to save some time and not have a whole bunch of extra footage that you just need to cut out on either end of the video. The other thing is this something that's a factor of having a 360 camera, and that's the delicate nature of the lenses. They're sticking out a lot here. They're very prone to scratching on rocks if you're kind of walking through some caverns or some canyons. And then sticks can get them a lot. I don't have any scratches on them right now, and I haven't been super careful with it. I've even knocked it on the ground a couple times when trail running, but I definitely recommend getting the cap and putting that on because it's just gonna give you some peace of mind when you are just walking around with the camera. And like I said, quality with the cameras isn't as good as I'd like it to be. I'd like to have a little bit better low light performance as well as just general quality improvements for the camera, but I think that's gonna come as we get going, and it's hard to beat where we are now as far as the size, the weight, and then what you get out of the X3. If you want to see a review of my favorite smartwatch, then go check out this video right up here. It's my everyday wear watch. I use it for backpacking trips. I use it at the gym. I use it for music. I use it for running. I use it for everything. And it's pretty much the best watch out there and lasts an entire month without needing to charge up. So go check out that video if you're interested in smartwatches.